this is Betsy here with the video tutorial that I promised. I am recording this at 12:17. Do not mind if I'm a bit quiet or decide to silence up a bit. It's because it's very much late and I'm trying to make sure I don't accidentally wake up anyone. But beginning with the tutorial, we're looking to the left side, as you can see right over here, if you can see where I'm pointing at. As you can see for this top part, you can adjust the size of how big it is or how small it is. But a good thing that you can use at the bottom of it is called opacity. It's basically when you lower it or higher it, the higher it is, the more thick the color is. But when you lower it, the more dull it's gonna look like. You see how much duller it is compared to it? It's much more duller. Of course, if you look over here on the top, you can obviously erase it easy like that. The size I use a lot is number 2 if I can get it on it. Do not mind me concentrating. I'm gonna fight this thing if I can't get it to number 2. Why do I use number 2 a lot? It's the easiest size for me personally. Now, as you can see, obviously down here we have a color wheel, and it also says a lot of the pictures, colors you use, as well as palettes. And you can obviously go to whichever color you'd like. And you can even use this to pick up color. To be more specific, when you use a color, it gets saved in here and you're recently used. But if you were to copy a color and not use it, and then change the color, you're not going to be able to have that previous color. It's going to be very much gone. Of course, up here on the top side, let me point up here. Over here, we're going to look in this direction. Right here, you can see the paint bucket. It obviously fills in the gap. And right here is called the lasso. You can use it freely if you want to. There's an option to make it rectangular, so you can cut out some rectangular shapes, as well as circle if you want to cut out a circle or oval or anything in general. This right here, this top part right here next to the thing, basically selects whatever you have in the drawing. Now let me show you a different toggle that I like. Here, now let me do a little scribble. So do you see in this part right here next to the paintbrush, it has a little hand toggle. Well, something you can do is that you can blur it out. It looks very good if you want to do some blurring or other stuff, and of course you can obviously undo it. But something I'm going to show you now is if you look in this direction, you'll see the layers. You can have multiple layers. I'm going to check how many you can have real quickly. Yes, you can have 15 or 14 layers, I believe. You can lock and unlock them. And look here, let me draw on this one. And then if I click the eyeball, it makes it disappear just in case you need to remove something to hide it. But let me show you something. So right here, you can obviously delete it. You can merge it with the one underneath it. You can make it all merged together. You can duplicate one to another one. Transform, I don't know exactly what you can do, but this, let me show you. Here, let me merge it all so it becomes easier. So imagine if you join that direction, you're like, oh, I'm supposed to draw in the other direction. Of course, if you select the toggle, you can flip it or stretch it, but it's going to make it look pixelated. An easy thing you can do is called flip horizontally. You can flip it horizontally so it's the other direction. Of course, you can undo that, and you can flip it vertically, which makes it go upside down. You can go both ways, which makes it easier. You know? You see? Very easy to use. There's drop shadow. That's where it drops a shadow around it. You see, even if you draw on it, look, it draws another shadow. Let me draw the word high. You see how there's a shadow on it? You can even remove that. But there's also a layer mask. I don't know exactly. Actually, never mind. I do know. If you look closely to the little screen right here, you can see the squares on it. Just in case you use the color white. Here, let me show you something. If you use the color white, I think it yeah, you can slightly see it on there. So it helps you know, just in case, oh, there's something on there that I can't see, better to keep that. Another good thing that you can use, you can move this around just in case it gets in your way, but you can also move this around. I preferably keep it normally where it's at. Now continuing on with the paintbrushes. There's multiple paintbrushes that you can use, like this pixel one, looks very cool just in case for a pixely effect, but there's multiple you can use like stamps, patterns, crayons, markers, airbrush, pencils, calligraphy tools, oil brushes, and water brushes. Of course, you can favorite your type, but let me show you something real quickly. So imagine you wanted to use a drawing, but you need something to cover it. Here, let's pretend that right here is a layer that I'm going to have something I would want to trace on it, you know? Let me grab a normal one. Is that the color white? Okay, yeah, this is the color white. Gonna fix that. Okay, so pretend I was just drawing, you know? I gotta do that electronically. Do not mind me. Okay, imagine if this was something I wanted to trace, you know? Very silly, very demure. But imagine if, like, the color outlining, look at that, you know? It feels too difficult to draw, you know? It kind of blends in. Here's something I suggest you do. You go to markers and you make sure you have the blue ones. I specifically use this blue one in the corner. And then what you're going to do is that you're not going to use your mouse, so you're going to use your, let me close it real quick. You're going to use your bucket and put it over there. But now you're going to think, oh, it has the entire thing covered. How is this supposed to help me? Well, that's where the layers come in. You tap on it and you can see opacity, the same thing that's right here. When you use this, you can lower it so it can become more see-through. So now that you have it see-through, you can easily be able to trace it. You see, like, oh, now I can see where I can use the lines. This is so much easier now. You see? And I usually use this tactic whenever I'm trying to trace art that I drew or references if I need to be able to use a body. Speaking of references, you can click over here on the top or right with these three dots. Let me click it right now. You can get new canvas, which you can make a new canvas, which saves your old drafts. Drafts, you can go to your drafts, you can import a picture, save as new artwork, save as image, post, I will explain that in a minute, settings, download more brushes, reference images, and record time lapse. Record time lapse basically records everything you did, I believe in it, previously, or you had to turn something on. I do not know exactly, I'll check it out in a second. But there's more brushes where you can download them. There's settings. Settings are very, very important. Finger drawing, I personally have off because it gets in the way. Rotate canvas, that's where you can use your two fingers to rotate the thing. Like you see my two fingers right now on the screen. I use that to twist and turn the canvas. Gestures and show brush texture point, I have those two off. I don't know exactly what to do. Auto fix lines. That is something very important that you're going to want to keep on. Saving gallery is another thing you want to be able to keep on, so you'll be able to easily make shapes. And brushes, remember color. It's whenever you use a color, it sets the brush in the thing. Palm reduction, it means you will accidentally interact with the thing. I recommend that you keep this off so you can use your hand and other stuff to do it. Now let me show you the shapes. Now let's go back to this little screen, little guy. So what you're going to do, imagine like, oh man, I want to draw a circle, but I don't want to make it look bad. Well, you're just going to draw it, hold it down for a second, and boom, you have a circle. Recently, it has this little glitch though, but you can easily fix that. It doesn't not only just work for shapes, for triangles, you can make a circle, triangle, and square. Yes, this is a Squid Games reference, don't judge me. But you also can make lines, squigglies, I believe. Here, let me show you. No, not like that. You can do that, and even this. It makes drawing lines so much easier. Certain shapes will not be drawn though due to its distinct shape, so you'll have to be able to use other things to make it on your own. You know, but it's very easy to make the lines. Something like, imagine you want to make a face with even eyes. You'll use this, you'll use the rectangle, cut it out, and imagine you want a mouth that was a smiley. You can use a circle, and then when you cut that out, you can just select it like that, and boom, you have a little smiley face. Now, oh man, I want to add some ovals to it. Well, you can do this. You can add some ovals to it. Have a little nose to it. It can sometimes be easier or complicated because sometimes whenever you draw a specific shape, it's not going to do it like that. It's not going to make that shape. You have to make sure it's distinct and clear. Sometimes it's a bit annoying and you have to reattempt it a few times for it to actually do it. You know? Like, let me try drawing a neck. There you go. Like, there's that one, but there's one I prefer to do, which looks like this because it looks more distinct, you see? This one's more curvy, while this one's more direct with that angle with it, you see? Which makes this one a more reliable shoulder than this one, but depending on how you're drawing will make it look more cartoonish or non-cartoonish, but that is overall your decision of how you decide to make it. But now let me show you the import picture. When you click import picture, you can either take a picture from the device you're using or select it from your gallery. Now, behold your gallery. You can use your camera, your quick share, your pictures, your drawings, your downloads, or your screenshots. Pictures, it's something that will open up once you've made art. It'll send what the art you made, it'll send it to here so you can look over or select old art that you used. Like, let me click this. Like, look, it's a drawing I made. And you can put it there. You can even change its size. Look, you see? You can change its size and you can twist and turn it. It even shows you the degrees you're turning it at. And when you click it, you can of course use this to be in the very front so you can help trace what you drew. It can be very useful from time to time, especially if you want to import a drawing you made in real life and then turn it into another thing that you want to use. But let me show you something that I specifically like about it. When you did this, you can click cancel, which means you don't save anything. Discard, it discards your drawing or discards any work you made, but then save. I'll click save. Actually, no, I'll fix it real quickly. I'd rather have it be saved on the little cute drawing I made. Cause look at the little guy. It's so silly. A little girl. That's specifically a girl. Over here, I'll save all your drawings. But you might be wondering, what are these? These are folders which you can create, I believe, by moving them. You can edit, create a folder, or manage folders. You can create folders for different genres and topics, like for internet, for themes, for fandoms, you know? But stuff you can just leave it out here. But something it does do, it specifies what you made it and what time you made it and when you finished it. It can be very useful from time to time. And it sends all your hard work here, you see? Ta-da! But let me make it to a quick thing right here. Behold, the blood examples. I use this to make blood examples, and I make sure to specify what I use. These are water brushes, pencils, the thick flat tip brush, I believe. These are crayons, oil brushes, and calligraphic tools. This is what I use because I was researching how to draw blood better. Why? Because, hey, what's wrong with a little gore nowadays, you know? But let me find this thing next, right here. Test. This was the hand touchy thing. I use different brushes for the different effects, you see? Like you can mix it in to make the background. That is what I use specifically to make this background right here. For Zenith's background, that's what I specifically used. But let's head back to the app so we can do it something real quickly. A cool thing about this app is that when you have internet, it allows you to see other drawings that you can use to color in or other artists' art so you can use references. You can like and even post your own art, but whenever you have no internet, it'll still allow you to make art, but you just cannot see other people's art. Like, let me show you. Like, let me close the app and reopen it real quickly. Let me show you. See, it says no network. You can try it again, but you can go to your drafts, which will allow you to create more art. Now let me show you something I really like a lot. Now let me open a file, open a new one. Here, look. You see, we're in a new layer. We're going to go to something called patterns. Whenever you saw over here called download brushes, you can specifically download more patterns. Like these ones. Like take this one for example. You know, it looks like something you'd wear during Scottish. You see? Look. You can change the color of it and also do the same fade effect as you like. You can even use it as a background. If you were to use it again in a different spot, you get something similar to this, which looks really cool. You see? Ta-da! But there's also more that you can use, like you can use sparkles and change the color and size. There's sparkles too. I don't know what the difference are, maybe more or less. There's more of the different Scottish patterns, like this one right here. There's more like say a picnic table. This one right here. And this last one, it's more distinct diamonds where you'd use on a sweater. Now, let me show you. There's dotted line that you can use. It kind of like curves when you use it. There's half a tone. That's kind of like that. Kind of like you're using a pencil or a dried up one. There's smoke. It's where you can use for like hair smoke. There's smoke too. That's more elegant and thin. There is the stipple right here. It looks like little dots. There is the stipple too, but it's more clear dots, more like polka dots, you see? There you go. There's bouquet. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, but there's that right there. There's bubbles 1. That's where it's just a big bubble in general, but let me lower it so we can see better. There you go. See, there's bubbles. There's bubbles 2, most likely the same thing, but a lot more darker and less clear. There's, of course, little smiley faces you can just plaster on. Oh my god, it's the color white, so do not mind that. You know what? We'll use one of the background colors. We'll use yellow for a smiley face. See? You can even use it as a pattern for it to follow. See? Let me remove this, goddammit. Okay, got that removed. You can use hearts. Let me show you little hearts you can use, you know. You can make big ones, small ones. There's grass. We'll use again this to help use as a color reference. Let me close that. There's grass you can use just in case you don't want to draw that grassy background. There's maple leaf. As you can see, it looks very nice. You can even change and rotate it. Just know it stays in one direction. There's ginkgo leaves. Right here, you see? When you tap it, it makes it a random direction, but whenever you use it, it stays in one direction. I should probably get rid of this page so it clears up some room. I remove this too. It looks very pretty though. Very pretty indeed. But let's basically use a new one. There's maple leaf 2. Very pretty too, as you can see when you tap on it. It makes it more random, but of course you can rotate it. There's flowers. That's where it's a little, obviously a little lily. Very beautiful. There's flowers too, which is roses. And of course you can tap it, but it stays in one direction just like the lilies. There's the stars that you can use. I have to make it another color so we can see them. You can make it big or small. Of course, when you use small, it makes it small, and you can obviously use that. There's starlights. I wish I actually made it all besides white, but I'm usually using it on the background. As you can see, they're tiny, but when you make them big, they're big, big. I remove this page so I can use more of this little stars. And then there's sparkles. We'll make it a random color. We'll use this color. This color is pretty. We can use this to make sparkles. You can have tiny sparkles that look very tiny, or you can have big sparkles. And then we can just use the little hand touchy to make it look like a cool blurry background. Ta-da! Now you got yourself a toothpaste looking like background. Very pretty though. Of course, you can delete it and it'll not save any of your work. And if I go back, I can just click discard because I didn't really change the front appearance. It still looks the same. That is how I basically use PenUp. It's very easy for me to use personally. It's very easy to use. I like it a lot. Over here, you can use Quickshare to get items you use from Pinterest or screenshots. Don't mind the chaos in some of them. But overall, yeah, it's very easy to use, very nice. I plan on making the tutorial to make this little guy, the little devil text soon when you want. That's if you need the tutorials, and if you need the tutorials, I'll be happy to do that. I'll just have to get some sketches ready. But overall, I just need to say that this app is very easy to use for beginners and current users. Would I suggest this to anyone? Yes, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm suggesting it to you. But overall, it's a good app. It's free. I suggest you use it with a tablet with a pen, though, whenever you're drawing with it. It makes it feel easier, much easier, you know? If you're going to be using it, it's good to be using it with something that's easy to use. Like I use a tablet and a pen. Of course, the pen comes with the tablet, so it's much easier to use. But a good thing about this app is that it's free. Yay, it's free. And you don't need to worry about paying any fees or anything because it's free for anyone to use. I don't know if you can get this app on your phone or any other specific device. I'll have to search that up, or you will have to see that when you go to your Play Store to get it. But overall, it is a very good and easy app to use, and yeah. Ooh, another cool thing I have to show you. Imagine I did this, like blop. But I was like, oh no, I need two of these. If you click this, you can click copy. And it allows you to use this top clipboard right here on the very top left. That's where you can paste. And you get the two of the same shape. But imagine like, oh, I want to draw this, but I need just only one of it. You can cut, and it copies it to your clipboard when you use cut. So it helps a lot with that though, whenever you want to use it. But yeah, that's how I basically use PenUp. If there's any details I missed, please let me know. Oh, hold on real quickly. There's also the eraser. You can see the eraser. Something annoyingly that the eraser does, it follows your same size of your pencil, which I hate a lot. Like here, let me do this real quickly. Like look, it follows the same size of your pencil. It could be sometimes useful, but not useful at the same time. And you can also lower the opacity so it makes it barely erase something, just in case you didn't make it look like clear. Kind of like that, like it's glitching, Looks very cool, but overall it sticks to your pencil size. If you do change the eraser size, it does change the size of your pencil. So I do suggest you use something you're not using or something you don't like to make it more clear whenever you're drawing on it, But overall, it's very easy to use, and yeah. I don't know, I feel like there's some more that I need to explain, but at the same time, I feel like I covered basically everything about it, You don't really need to post about things. Ooh, a thing about the post. If you do decide to post your art, there are specific rules that you have to follow. Yes, there are rules, because indeed this app does allow certain drawings that look like that could be drawn by a minor, which they are, because certain drawings can be colored in by minors. So something they specifically have is that whenever you post art, it cannot have any gore or blood in it, from what I have seen, because I tried posting something before and it had blood on it, but it was a while back, so I don't really post anything. I might continue posting, but I might not at all. But overall, it's an easy app, a nice community. You can find multiple drawings as well as references, and make sure to use the layers correctly, because that can come very, very much helpful in the long run. But another thing I have to show you real quickly before I end this is the plus sign. When you click photo drawing, I believe you can select any of the photos you made. But when you click drawing, look, you can have your own custom width and height of your own little canvas, but also you can pick one of these. There's standard landscape, widescreen landscape, social media landscape, and square. I normally use social media, but whenever I'm working on something big or any banners, I usually use some of the widescreen landscape. But you can use any of you prefer depending on what you're drawing. It's very easy to use, very nice, and yeah, you see, you can create all this art, and it's easy to use, Would I make a tutorial of how to draw the devil text? This one right here? Yes, I will. But a cool thing you can do is that you can zoom in, I believe, or zoom out. I don't know. I used to be able to do that, but I guess it doesn't let me anymore. Oh, but that was cool. But overall, that is how you use PenUp.